Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TalentHut TESOL Academy podcast series. I'm your host, Sabina Rustamova from the land of fire, Azerbaijan, and you are listening to our special episode titled The Power of Positive Education. Today, I'm truly excited to welcome a guest whose influence in the ELT world spans more than 25 years. So let's dive into this inspiring conversation more and more. Please join me in welcoming George Kokolas to the show. Please, Mr.
Thank you, Sabina. Thank you very much for the invitation. Very promising title. I hope that it will be according to the listeners' expectations. But I have a very positive feeling about this. So
I'm
far
certain.
away.
I'm certain about that. So, a little bit about my guest. George Kokolas is an experienced ELT professional with over 25 years of service as academic director and teacher trainer at Express Publishing. He's a licensed level 5 positive educator, holds a level 5 diploma in positive psychology, and is certified level 7 TEFL teacher as an accredited advanced neuro language, yes, coach, and graduate
Correct.
in English literature. He blends pedagogy, neuroscience, and positive education to elevate teaching and learning experiences. Since 2017, he has hosted the well-known Teachers Coffee podcast, and in 2022, he was recognized as one of the Greece's most influential ELT figures. George has served as vice chair of TESOL Greece, is a founding member of IPEN Greece, and actively mentors educators through the EVE mentoring program. With more than 1,000 international conference presentations, including numerous plenaries, he continues to inspire educators around the world. So, let's dive into this inspiring conversation. As I mentioned before, so Mr. George, you have spent over 25 years in ELT, teacher training, educational leadership. What first sparked your passion for this field?
Well, I think to tell you the truth, in the beginning, when I was a kid, I wanted to become a journalist. So I guess that was a little bit of a spark of having something to share, maybe in written form. But eventually, there were certain powerful teachers that they were engraved in a way on my memory. People who have influenced me a lot, changed my way of thinking, made me see towards a particular direction.
Mhm.
And I was a little bit caught in the middle when I was actually a graduate student because I had to take a path. Either I would go towards English major or following journalism studies. And I did follow literature, which was very much connected in Greece still with teaching English as a foreign language because you receive some extra training afterwards, but that's where you start from. And thus I decided to become a teacher. Maybe mostly for the reason to share, communicate, and
Mhm.
if possible, be able to influence somebody's life towards a better, let's say, future. Why not? But that's how it all started, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's so powerful, honestly. It's fascinating how single experience can quietly shape the entire career path. So that's great. So when you look back, was there a defining moment early in your career that set the tone for everything you do today?
Defining moments. I would say a defining moment. There were two of them. The first one was when my mentor, Virginia Evans, in a way pushed me on stage. And
Mhm.
that then I realized at that moment how important public speaking is. That
Mhm.
it's not that simply delivering a talk, it's more than that, and it contains an awesome responsibility in terms of what you are talking about, how you convey the message, what is the audience. So I guess this, in a way, made me think and wanted to move this into another level. Always offering high standards of presentation skills, very good content, and at the same time developing this skill as much as possible. And I think the second moment was during the COVID time that
Mhm.
everybody had to stay at home. Back then, I was living a very exciting life. You know, I was traveling a lot. So at that moment, I was confined in an apartment somewhere downtown in Athens, and I had to reframe all this. And then when I came across positive psychology, positive education,
Mhm.
which at that time it made me change a lot my perspective and start realizing that yes, if you really want it and if you believe in this, you can definitely change and shift your life towards a more positive mindset. So these two moments, I think, they were crucial for me in the last 10 or
Yeah.
even 20 years.
Okay, I love how those early moments shaped your philosophy. So, can you share an example where positive psychology directly improved learner engagement or teacher performance?
Absolutely, and this is an indispensable part of all my talks and workshops. Number one, I would say practice that anybody can do, and something that came again from feedback from the classroom is obviously, especially in today's world, it's a very, very common practice that you enter a classroom, no matter if
Mhm.
it's ELT or other subject, and you may face reluctancy, you may face a lack of mood, you may face noise, you may face lack of discipline, and generally not favorable conditions to deliver a lesson. So number one first aid for this, in order to make the classroom feel more positive, is simply, break or disrupt a little bit the flow of the lesson and move into an activity which definitely is by nature more positive. It can be like a song, it can be like what I really love, a positivity, let's say, discussion about something positive with your students. It can be also connection with what is happening in the headlines out there, connect somehow the lesson and spark a discussion. And I think the teachers who have the resources and the vault of these activities, they do experience a more positive way on everyday basis, because it's all about practicing it. It's not simply about the theory. And of course, when I'm talking about activities, because there are millions out there that can
Yeah.
be found, this also presupposes that the teacher is very well prepared, has them integrated, and above all, we will maybe talk more about this later, he's also prepared himself to
Mhm.
deliver a more positive activity in the classroom. But if you are asking me about a recipe or about a certain pattern, I would say when you see that the lesson is not moving on, stop it, do something positive, and try to reignite the spark for moving
Yeah,
on. That's
definitely. Yeah, so I completely agree with you. Now, this is kind of went so viral to have reluctancy in the classroom, especially among the students. Yeah, there might be so many underlying factors that we can
of course.
elaborate. Yes. Okay, so how do you see these principles transforming the ELT classroom today?
I see it. I think we have a unique opportunity as English language teachers, and this does not come from me, comes even from experts like, for example, Sarah Mercer, who talks a lot about positivity.
Mhm.
We have a very good context. We have a lot of texts. We have a lot of stimuli from the outside world. We have a lot of input that we can use in an ELT classroom and transform it into a more positive way. So a text that you may have or an activity that you may have might help you as a teacher to implement easier these activities within the classroom. I mean, imagine if you were, or if we were physics or chemistry teachers, this might not have been easy. But the English lesson, the ELT classroom, I think is the most favorable setting right now for moving on into a more positive attitude, and in a way cultivates a little bit, paves the way for
Mhm.
these positive activities to take place. I think we have a unique opportunity. All we need is simply sit down, figure out what we can do, and try to practice it when this is needed.
Yeah, definitely. So everyday practice is going to turn into habit. So after a while, we will not need it anymore. So we will just have
Exactly.
habit.
Exactly. I think you are so right on that.
Thank you very much.
It's really important.
What's one practical positive education technique teachers can start using immediately? like without any lesson planning, without like any pre-planning. So,
A positive education technique that teachers can actually start immediately. First of all, I would say, because as you mentioned before, this is about practicing it. So
mhm,
before I do realize that I want to practice it, I do need to realize about myself if I'm ready about that. Positivity is not a spectator's, let's say, sport. It's something that you need to go and play in the field. So the first thing that I would ask an educator to do is do a little bit of self-reflection. Do I actually want to do this? Do I feel that I can improve more towards positivity? The second one in psychology is called self-intervention. In other words, is first help yourself, then
mhm,
others. So you may find in this process that maybe you need first to help yourself more towards a more positive you, and then try to convey it to the others. And the third one is realizing what we have just said, that this is about practicing. This is about a little bit of exposing. This is about contacting people. This is about inspiring. So you cannot simply preach positivity simply through activities. You need to be present. You need to be able to live, to orchestrate this. So I think this is the number one thing that an educator needs to do. And then, as I said, I have recommended many activities. People who follow me on social media, I always post indications of what exactly needs to be done. And there are so many manuals out there, or even on the internet, or even why not with AI, that they can find activities just to break the ice and create a more positive atmosphere as well. But first, they need, I think, to work with themselves. And the activities are very deliverable, easy to be done. That's, I think, number one priority. Work with
mhm.
yourself first, and then try to convey this message.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, what you mentioned, self-questioning. Yes. So we have to start as a
Exactly.
teacher to give questions to ourselves in order to find out what kind of way to follow. Okay.
Positivity starts with us. If
Yes.
we don't feel positive, then we cannot transmit positive.
Yeah.
It's not like a facade that you can put or
Mhm.
just a lesson to deliver.
Yeah.
It's a mindset, and it's a way of living that you need to convey to other people, in that case, to your students. So you need to feel this
Mhm.
yourself before you try to transfer it to somebody else.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. As an advanced neuro language coach, what makes this approach different from traditional language teaching?
Uh, yeah, it's completely, in a way, against traditional teaching, and one of the reasons why actually followed and formed my training with Rachel Marie Paling, who is the founder of Neurolanguage Coaching, is because I believe a lot in this integration of coaching techniques into our lessons. And this is something that even the gurus of, even Rachel says it, it doesn't have to go fully coaching. But the first step of a classic teacher, of a traditional teacher, to realize that I have tried this, didn't
Mhm.
work. I have tried the other thing, didn't work. Why not trying to implement a little bit of coaching techniques, which harm nobody, and they may inspire the student towards better learning. The focus of neurolanguage coaching is the student. The student, in its more radical, let's say, form, is tell me what you need me to teach you. Tell
Mhm.
me what exactly is the need that you have as a learner. This works a lot with adult students, specifically in professional contexts, where instead of starting parroting present simple, present continuous, and endless grammar exercises, they simply say, look, this is what you want to teach me, and let's start from that. And you build up the lesson in a way eliciting it from the learner. And it can be even, to younger students, starting with the precondition of giving them the floor. I mean, I think this is what we fail to do as teachers. We just rushing into ticking up the boxes, covering the curriculum, but we don't listen to the students a lot.
Mhm.
And you may receive very precious information from what actually they want to be taught. And of course, you can adjust accordingly. I'm not saying ditching, the curriculum or neglecting it or completely, but integrating these techniques
Mhm.
definitely makes your lesson more positive and definitely more student oriented. So I would say a lot of discussion is number one with the learner, the first condition for applying neuro language coaching or coaching in general.
Yeah, that distinction between teaching and coaching is so important, as you mentioned. Even when you said that we don't have to neglect curriculum, but at the same time, we have to align it with the certain needs of students. Yes, great.
Exactly. There is always a middle way. I mean, because usually I think all the misconceptions start when people think these of extremes. There is
Mhm.
nothing extreme. You try something, you may want to use part of it. And you know very well, because from what I know, you are also a very experienced teacher.
Thank you.
Every classroom is different, no matter, and it's so similar at the same time, but every classroom is different. So it's only the teacher who knows what to keep, what to integrate, what to use, and what maybe to neglect. Yes, this is also part of the process.
Yeah. Okay, if a teacher wants to create a more brain-friendly learning environment, what's the first steps they should take? So basically, you have mentioned like prior to, but I think that let's dive into that a little bit deeply. And what do you think? Like, what kind of brain-friendly learning environment might be applied well?
Thank you for this question. And, yes, it's time to become a little bit more specific. And I will mention three things which totally come from science. The first one has to do with the theory of the affective filters by Stephen Krashen. And he was not the first one who mentioned that, but let me put it this way. A person who is agitated, nervous, or a kid who cannot focus, or who is going through a bad moment cannot learn.
Mhm.
So for me, when you feel this tension or this vibe, which is a little bit of animosity, maybe of agility, of but negative agility or a lot of movement, you need to calm the brain down. The
Mhm.
brain needs to calm down, and there maybe a positive activity can get in, or simply, to tell you the truth, I have tried this many times and it really works. Like, for example, Sabina, Maria, or George, you don't seem like being able to focus right now.
Mhm.
Take a break, go outside the classroom for 5 minutes and come back. I can tell you this really works a lot. So, attention is important and the affective filter needs to be low. The second one is again from neuroscience, and it has to do with research by David Souza that says that brain loves what is real and personal. So when it comes down to the real, and specifically in the ELT classroom, I think we have another unique opportunity, because this motto of what you learn is going to be useful out there for you to communicate, for you to thrive, for you to move, for professional development, is a motto and a proof that
Mhm.
we need to promote a little bit more. So my lesson needs always to be realistic, connected to realistic
Mhm.
goals, communication, presentation skills, academic writing as well. These things that this you are not doing this like a futile work. It's going to be useful out there, needs to be evident, because this makes the realistic. And the other one is personal. The personal is what everybody loves. Every brain loves. We all love talking about ourselves. We all want to be the focus, not in a vain way. It's a very natural part of our brain. So the more you give the floor, this comes back to what we said before, to the students, the more you get this attraction, you more you get this interest cultivated. This can help me. This is about me. And personalization, which is a pretty old theory in ELT and in language, really works a lot. It
Mhm.
stimulates the brain because it sends automatically the message that there is something in it for me. So I think these are the three golden rules for a more brain-friendly lesson: personal connection with the real world and lowering the affective filters.
Yeah, basically, from my personal perspective and experience, I might emphasize that I'm also doing the same thing, refreshing process. When I feel that my students are not in the pace that I would like them to be. So basically, what I do, the same way, I just let them go out, refresh themselves, to breathe fresh air, and then come back. So basically, what I see that it just helps them to fuel like their power of their brain, so they can some after just focus on the lesson, concentrate on the subject well enough. So yes, that's
Keep in
what.
mind that sometimes there are minor details, like, for example, if there is enough oxygen in the classroom. I mean, the brain needs air, fresh
Yeah.
air, oxygen, period. Yes, I know that it might sound simplistic or it might be underestimated, but sometimes if you are in a stuffy classroom full of odors or smells or whatever, just open a little bit the windows, and this can actually help the students take a breath. It's super important, super important.
Yeah, even for teachers as well.
Of course, of course.
Need some kind of space for getting that, like, I mean, moment to refresh ourselves. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, from your perspective, which innovative method will shape the future of ELT in next decade?
And that's a very good question, and it starts becoming very specific. I'll tell you what I think the reality today is. I think the reality that you have been experiencing and what I'm hearing from teachers is that the majority of the students, even sometimes starting from the first grade of primary, no matter where you are,
Mm-hmm.
is that we receive students that have a pretty high level of English. At least this is what we say. Our students come because they exposed a lot on social media and they know how to speak English. But what no one mentions, and specifically this goes to the parents, is that these English are not the English that they are going to be spoken out there. These are YouTube English. These are Game Pro English. This is like hi, how are you, bro English, which have nothing to do with academic English, and they have nothing to do with the etiquette, at least, or the standard English that is spoken out there in at least human or professional context. So this creates, I think, a misconception. Sometimes there are so many cases. I'm not going to refer to names or countries that the student speaks better, is more fluent than the teacher, and the teacher gets a little bit intimidated. But there is nothing to feel intimidated about at this stage. I think we need to clarify. It's like when your kid goes to the first class
Mm-hmm.
of primary school. They speak Azerbaijani. They do speak their own language, but this is not the language needed for school. It's more or less the same thing. They
Mm-hmm.
have become fluent in a language which is different from the one that you are going to teach. So I think there is a misconception there. The majority right now of the curriculum are moving into a more ESL bilingual thing, which it's teaching English even in non-native countries as an immersion. I don't know how long this is going to expand because there are other issues that favor it. But if I have to answer your question, I think that doesn't have to be a method because methods come and go.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many out there. Sometimes teachers get a little bit confused or even paralyzed, specifically from technology or the AI. My motto is what resonates with what we have said so far in this episode: first connect, then teach.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what method you teach, it won't work if you haven't made this connection with your student. And when I'm talking about connection, I'm talking about something that each one of us teachers knows very well what this is all about. You don't have to be a psychologist, you don't have to be a professional coach. It's like what you do with any person next to you. It's very simple human connection and contact in order to be able to deliver the lesson in any possible way or with any possible methodology. I wish that there have been one method that has proved absolutely effective. So you could simply press the button, implement it, and everybody learns English. It doesn't work like this. I think that right now the majority of the English language teachers are perplexed. They're confused. There are so many applications out there. There's so many theories, and we have forgot about human connection, student and teacher connection, which comes even from the ancient years as well. People will learn better
When they
from
communicate.
people who actually trust. And
Mm.
this trust needs to be established through a connection. I think that's the best method and priority that needs to be followed right now.
Uh, that's incredibly true. Yeah. Right now, all the teachers, I think, most of the teachers, not call, let's say all of them, but most of the teachers chase innovative, trendy, let's say, methods or technologies to follow. They try to apply it in their classrooms. Yes, in order to engage their students. But in fact, that is very, like everything is hidden behind the very simple way to communicate, just to interact with them.
I'm so happy that you actually resonate a lot with what I'm saying because that's exactly as you recapitulated. That's exactly the idea. There is no magic. There are no magic buttons in teaching. If we had the magic button to learning, things would have been easy. You need to connect, and first connect maybe with yourself, and then with the others. We come back to this motto.
Yeah. You have delivered more than 1,000 presentations around the world. Is there any moment that from your international speaking journey that you stayed with you?
Yes, there was one that actually changed even my life a lot, but I think it was a little bit of a moment earned.
Mhm.
I was delivering a presentation in Tel Aviv, and after the presentation, there was a queue of people to talk with me. And there comes a lady, and she suddenly hugs me. And it was a talk about positive education, actually, what is the title of the podcast. And she told me that she's the daughter of Professor Adler.
Mhm.
Professor Adler he was the co-worker of Martin Seligman, the person who came out with the positive psychology theory. So he is the guru, the master, the creator of positive psychology. And she was very enthusiastic about the talk. And she said that I have very good connection with Mr. Seligman, and Mr. Seligman needs to see this talk. And that's how I connected. I couldn't believe that was actually happening because connecting with Martin Seligman was like connecting, what can I say, with Freud, something like that. He's such a big name. So she did give me his email. I did send him my presentation, and I got a reply back then from Martin Seligman. And as you mentioned in my bio, that's how we started forming the International Positive Education Network. I am one of the founding members in Greece. And, I'm grateful to this moment because it was very important for me. It helped me connect with somebody extremely important in the field. So it's something I will never forget because she could simply say nothing. She could simply leave and not even give me this contact,
Yeah.
but I really did appreciate that.
Super. So everything happened unintentional, but well planned, let's say. That's, I think, gift of the fate.
Somehow.
Gift of, yeah. So, but always hard work pays off. So you tried your best, and there was a person, right person, to see that. So nice.
Thank you. What can I say? I'm trying.
So, in your role as mentor and coordinator at Eve, what common challenge do teachers bring to you, and how do you guide them?
Um, I love, first of all, I need to say that I love Eve, that we must say that you were a part of it,
Yes.
okay? Because I think Eve can be the tangible proof of this. You want to call it an organization, I call it a group of passionate people that can actually give this extra nudge or push to the ladies specifically who,
Mhm.
for different reasons, may never have thought that they can do it and go on stage. I think this is a very brave activity by itself because people usually either they get a misconception about what representation is all about, or they are afraid to follow this.
Mhm.
And it's always the truth is in the middle. This is not something extremely easy, but this is something extremely doable. And the more effort that you're going to put in it, the more it's going to pay back as
Mhm.
hard work, as you said before. So it's all about encouragement. The techniques, of course, and the tips are pretty much standard, but it's all again about this connection between the mentor and the mentee. Because if you try simply to recite or mention some techniques without making the mentee realizing that you can do this, that it's a matter of practice.
Mhm.
I heard yesterday, out of a coincidence, that there are three major ingredients for a good presentation:
Mhm.
preparation, preparation, and preparation. It's so simply the more you do it, the better you're going to deliver, and the more time you're going to invest. And you need someone like a mentor to guide you step by step. But mostly, after a while, it's about the presence, about being there just in case you fall. I'm here to help you. I'm
Mhm.
here to show you how it is done. There are going to be some bad moments as well sometimes. So you all had these bad moments on stage. Don't worry, move on. So it's mostly about encouragement and, of course, teaching basic principles of rhetoric. But I must say that I'm really surprised regarding the interest that I've been receiving from teachers. More and more teachers want to be part of this. So this
Mhm.
makes me really, really happy that you have people who want to enter this idea and this context of public speaking. It's
Yeah.
very encouraging.
By the way, I could have chance to taste the experience of Eve. I participated as a mentee at Eve Mentoring Leads program with a collaboration, Azeta. So it was really kind of privilege for me to participate and attend and get all those beneficials from my side, from the side of my mentor. She could help me in all those preparation process, and I could deliver it well enough, and I could, yes, I could get, let's say, that impression from my let's say mentors. So that was really invaluable process, invaluable experience for me, as you mentioned. So
And I must confess that you did really well. I must confirm that publicly. You did really well in your final
thank you very much.
presentation.
Thank you very much. Working across different cultures requires adaptability. So, what have multinational environments taught you about leadership and communication?
One word: respect. A
Mhm.
lot of respect.
Mhm.
You need to set aside whatever you may want to call your own identity
Mhm.
and enter when you land from the plane that you are in a different setting and that you have to respect. This is number one. And the second, that you need to listen. Many people are hindered by that, or even they are biased. But multicultural, this is what it taught me. And definitely it made me, I think it made me a better person because there is a lot of wisdom in each one of the countries because of the culture. And if you listen to the locals all the time, you definitely have to get something positive that it can help you, or that you may have never thought before, just maybe because of your own culture,
Mhm.
right? So just have an open mind, and respect for me is a key word. And this is what I always try to cultivate with the students. You meet people from the other countries, be respectful, listen to them, and rest assured that they will do the same for you. Because we always have this competition just to promote our own individuality. Yes, every nation is great, every culture is great, but listen, respect, see how you can take advantage of it. So for your own good and benefit. And this always pays back, as you said. There's always a profit from that.
Yeah, certainly. Perspective on cultural intelligence is incredibly valuable in today's interconnected world. So, yes, great. Is there an episode or guest on Teachers Coffee that surprised or moved you unexpectedly?
Oh, yes, there was a recent one that I highly recommend that you all listen from that season that it's on with the family IT guy, Mr. Ben Gillenwater from the
Mhm.
United States, who talked a lot about internet safety. And he provided some real shocking statistics of how dangerous is specifically for young kids
Mhm.
the exposure to the internet. I mean, even in that episode, what really shocked me in a negative way, but that was a reality that there are really right now, I don't know how many registered cases of children in the US that committed suicide guided by AI, which, you know, it might sound like a far-fetched extreme event, but it's a reality. And it maybe rings the bell a lot about not only the dangers, but how cautious
Mhm.
and how we should train our kids with technology in every possible aspect because it's getting out of control. It looks like machines are getting over right now, are taking over position. No, humans need to be in control, not the machines, specifically for our kids.
Yeah, definitely. How does podcasting contribute to teacher development in a way traditional formats can?
That's a very easy question. You know, I'm gonna mention Angela Duckworth, who is like, you know, like number one psychologist in IPEN. I'm gonna mention Simon Sinek. I'm gonna mention Barbara Santos, who is an expert in positivity. I'm gonna mention who else? You know, so many academics right now and university professors that have podcasts. Why? Because it helps conveying complicated ideas to the people. So for me, right now, going for a walk, listening to a podcast, or when you drive, but there is something important that I need to say here. Podcasts are not just sources of knowledge.
Mhm.
No, podcasts are stimuli. They are the beginnings, the threads that you can take and make your own research. Nothing will give you
Mhm.
deep knowledge just by listening to it. But you need to take what you listen to a podcast and start researching more. They're a great source of inspiration, and I highly recommend them for any teacher or professional.
So, as academic director at Express Publishing, what principles guide the development of impactful ELT materials?
Now, thank you for this question. And I think, you know, I can actually answer it because the way I know it, and I've been experiencing it inside out for more than 25 years. I would say number one, methodology, because at the end of the day, we're talking about ELT materials, ELT books. So, what needs to be taught or covered needs to be there, and it has to be effective. I mean, not just be there, it needs to work. And in Express, we are very particular about this, creating materials that help students speak, write, and express themselves in English, no matter what the level is or the academic objective. Number two, I think, has to do with innovation. And when I'm talking about innovation, a modern publishing house needs to keep up with all the theories that we've been discussing here. Personally, I find myself extremely lucky because using examples from Express books, I can talk about flip learning, I can talk about mediation, I can talk about positivity, I can talk about social emotional learning, I can talk about sustainability, I can talk about transformative learning. It gives me the depth, if you like, and the integration process to support all these innovative new theories and integrate them to the lesson. And the third has to do with technology. I mean, you cannot offer any kind of modern material without having the appropriate companion, technology companion
Mhm.
that can help students convey exactly the same material into a safe internet environment. And I'm very absolute about the safe because, in a way, you asked me this question indirectly. Yes, there is so much material out there,
Mhm.
there are so many options, but I guess this is causing some kind of choice fatigue for the students or for the teachers. They don't know what to choose. But the most important thing, and I'm speaking totally as a teacher here, all
Mhm.
these activities are not integrated. So
Mhm.
you may find the best of activity online, but how you take this and make it part of your curriculum, it cannot be a simple copy paste process.
Mhm.
You need effort, you need scheduling, you need techniques in order to do that. And sometimes this can be very tiring. That is why when you have, and maybe there are other publications out there as well, but specifically what I can know and talk about Express, such a comprehensive pack of services and high-end materials, then, I would recommend going towards this direction, because this is where we make the difference. So you offer a complete, well integrated solution to the modern teacher for the modern needs.
Yeah, basically we can call it like a combination of creativity, pedagogy, and also global relevance. Yes. So,
Absolutely,
which is
absolutely.
very crucial nowadays. So, what kind of skills do you believe the next generation of ELT professionals must master to thrive in the evolving educational landscape?
That's an amazing question, by the way. Thank you very much. Because sometimes, I don't want to sound like too radical, or sometimes I sound a little bit aggressive, but I think that we have lost, even as teachers and professionals, the love of learning, the love of development.
Mhm.
It's a never-ending process, this one. So I think the first thing that a new professional or teacher needs to do is rediscover this passion within in it, because this is one of the themes of my new talks. We all are born with that. There is
Mhm.
no way that you are not born with a natural curiosity about something. If teaching isn't your forte, then maybe you can think of leaving it, behind, and or reframe it at the same time. But you need to go through this self-discovery of what you actually want to learn, how you can become better at your profession, and try to discover it. It cannot happen with a magic wand. And it's all about, that's why everybody's talking about the growth mindset. This
Mhm.
effort mindset has been annihilated, has been completely deactivated, remains dormant. And I think it's because, if you ask me, because of mobile phones and because of too much time literally spent, wasted, scrolling down on social media or any other thing that makes your mind completely passive and maybe
Mhm.
stops you from this development of yourself to go out and learn something new. So a mindset towards growth, a mindset toward learning new things, and be prepared that you're going to spend some energy. I think it's number one tip that I can give to any kind of new professional or teacher right now. Be willing to learn more things.
Great. So I think that it's time to give this question. If you could give one piece of advice to every educator listening right now, what would it be?
Again, thank you for this. I would say one phrase: do your best with what you have.
Mhm.
Because do your best is a mindset. It's not
Mhm.
something that it's just to end this podcast, or it's not as simple. It has a lot of depth as a phrase, and it requires a constant effort from your end. And with what you have, this can be the antidote to all the complaints, because you can never be at any optimal condition. No one is at any optimal condition.
Mhm.
It always can get better. There are problems, definitely. Sometimes the problems are not the teacher's fault. They are not the ones to blame. But if I start spending time complaining, whining about
Mhm.
this time is being wasted and does not allow me to focus on how I can become better. So I find them like, very interconnected ideas, these two. And I would say this: just do your best with what you have, and things will definitely get better, and better days will come. Definitely, you're gonna feel better at a certain point if you move on with this motto. At least I think it works for me.
Mm, I completely agree with you. Yes, instead of whining, as you mentioned, instead of complaining about anything, it would be better just focus on yourself. So,
Exactly.
are there any future projects, ideas, directions you are excited to explore in the coming years?
Um, I'm I- I'm fully booked, so there are so many presentations for me to deliver right now. But I want to go into a new level. Practically now, I have started delivering talks about love and connection with learning.
Mm.
And also, my new talk is going to be about the love of learning and how this can be developed. So, yeah, I want this to be of a high standard. There are two publications coming out, two papers of mine. One is about sustainability and positivity. It's going to come
Mhm.
out very soon. And the other one is my first publication regarding the positive education signature talk that I have already delivered in many countries. Even in it was a plenary in Azeta in the conference in June. So yeah, I want to be as creative as possible. At the same time, I need to travel because of my job. So I'm trying to combine everything. So one step at a time. But having publications out there and sharing with the world is something that I love doing because always this stimulates a discussion, a lot of feedback, and I love connecting with people and talking with people, no matter what the conditions are. So somewhere like there, you're going to find me as well. Somewhere in a conference, a publication, or a social media post, maybe.
Super. So I'm gonna follow you everywhere. I am doing it, but I will do
Thank
it
you.
here and after as well. So, what books, tools, courses, or other resources do you personally recommend for teachers who want to grow in ELT, positive education, and neuro language coaching?
Many books because one of my major ways that I highly recommend, going back to what you gave me as a tip, is try to read or listen or be exposed to as many books as possible because these are the source of inspiration. These will open the doors to new things. Never ever think that you're going to read a book
Mhm.
and everything will end there. Okay, you may be fully inspired, but you need to do a step further, either enriching more in what you've read or opening new doors. So two books that are stuck on my mind right now, and I cannot get over them because they have given me so much food for thought, and I highly recommend. They are by Robert Fried, both of them. The first one is The Passionate Teacher, and the other one is The Passionate Learner, which is all about, and it's written by a teacher. I think he's a secondary school teacher in the
Mhm.
US, and an academic as well later on. So come straight from the classroom and they can redefine, specifically in this era of too much technology, too many distractions, too many things to be
Mhm.
done, how we can refine the passion for learning. And I think it's extremely useful for every single teacher first to realize if he has lost or she has lost this passionate or not, and then try to rediscover it with their kids. It's a call to a journey, which
Mhm.
I like very much.
Super. So basically, we are coming very end of our episode, and let's conclude this episode with this question: what's the key message you hope listeners take away from this conversation?
Um, have a very honest conversation with themselves, first of all.
Mhm.
Um, because of my job, I come across many teachers. I talk with many teachers. Sometimes I come across a lot of frustration. We are underpaid. I
Mhm.
know that,
Yeah.
but I don't want this to be a factor for someone to simply stay there dormant. How can I root it,
Mhm.
ground it in a certain position with an idea that it cannot be fixed or
Yeah.
it cannot be improved. There is always room of improvement. All you need is to have an honest conversation with yourself. First of all, if you want to do this or you don't want to do this, because sometimes, this is an existentialistic question for the teachers as well. And then simply give your best in order to move on. And as I said before, this is what I have seen working for me. When you have absolute nothing, or when things seem that they don't work, start with what you have. Sometimes it's the absolute nothing, but yourself is not the absolute nothing. You are there and you can start from that. So if you are stuck or you feel that disappointed or nothing works, I think start with what you have. Sometimes even nothing, yourselves. Yourselves are not nothing. They're a very important thing. So I hope that this podcast and this episode will give this extra nudge or push of encouragement to somebody who may feel disappointed right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
As we are coming, as I mentioned, we came to the end of our episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Power of Positive Education. Special thanks to George Kokolas for sharing such insightful perspectives and practical wisdom. Honestly, I also had my takeaway from this journey. Thank you for this. And what I discovered that education, especially positive education, is human-centered journey at its heart. So right now, think of positive education like sunlight in a classroom. It doesn't replace a
Very good.
classroom. It just replaces everything. Yes, grow stronger, brighter, more meaningful, mindful. So, if you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to follow TalentHut TESOL Academy podcast series. Explore more inspiring discussions with educators who are shaping the future of learning. Mr. Kokolas, you also please.
Thank you so much. Yes, highly thank you very much for this invitation. You are doing a great job. You are a wonderful host. So I'm sure all the episodes have a real worth. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Either listen to this or any other episodes. And thanks again for the invitation and for giving me the floor to share a few things.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much once more. And dear subscribers, don't forget, you can also check out George's Teacher's Coffee for more thought-provoking dialogue. Until next time, keep learning, keep reflecting, keep leading with positivity. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you very much. Absolutely. Bye bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.